You start a marathon thinking about mile 25. At mile 1, it's going to be a really long day for you out there. So it's that reminder of taking one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 mile at a time, 1 rep at a time, and controlling what you can control in that moment. Tommy runs. Been running for 4 years or so, since 2018. Training for New York Marathon. Just been doing my best to just make stuff happen, and for the community, and inspire as many people as possible just by living my true journey through this story. 2017, I stopped drinking in January 2017, and jumped into just this whole vibe of just trying to make myself better at any opportunity, and so I hit the gym, kind of got into that whole wellness and fitness vibe. And then in 2018, a client of mine through work was like, yo, we doing a half marathon for my company, let's raise some money, join in with us, you fit, you could do it, So I started running and trying to train, have some fun with it, and then quickly realized that training takes more than that, than just going out and running every day or running as fast as you can. And then I ended up running that marathon, didn't die, so that was that checked off that box for me. But then I just liked the process of trying to get better and going after it and doing something new, and running's different. So it's it really touches, when you get out there, it really kind of touches more of a mental and emotional side of things when you get past that point of where you trained for, or what you reach that distance that you never ran before. So you just kind of keep pushing, and it's not, I wouldn't say addicting, but it's easy to kind of latch on to that pursuit to get better in running, because you really have to stay diligent with it and keep training. So after I ran that half, I'm like, yo, let's do this again and just try it and keep pushing. And I guess the rest is history at this point. And I just love the process almost as much as crossing the finish line.
I'm Aaron. Been running since late 2017. Just runner, creative, I guess. In the late summer of 2017, actually my brother, Jared, he was running, he was biking, he was doing things. He just really liked being outside. So I decided to join him on a run one day. We ran around a nature center near my house, about a mile loop. And I took my phone, I downloaded a tracking app, and I saw that. I'm like, okay, I ran a mile in 10 minutes. I wonder if I could do this any better, because I'm obsessed with numbers. So my first instinct was okay, I want to go and do it again tomorrow and see if I can run it faster. And fast forward 5 years, and that's kind of how it all just started, and we're here at this point from that one day, that one decision.
In 2019, a year into running, I'm I want to qualify for Boston Marathon. And to say that, I mean, that's a big goal after less than a year of running. So the lead up to it was a very long lead up. In 2019, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Ran my first marathon, which was the Detroit Free Press, and I ran it with intentions of just trying to see where I was, to see what the next level would be. In 2021, was able to kind of stay fit, stay healthy, keep training, and qualified in 2021 at the Toledo, or the Glass City Marathon in Toledo, and qualified by quite a bit. So it was it was a pretty, for me, impressive thing to do. So I was really hyped up going into Boston 2022, and was as fit as I was going to be, ready to go. 3 to 4 weeks before the race, I had felt an issue with my left knee. So I figured it's just one of those things that's going to pass. Didn't pass. It kept getting worse. So the last 3 weeks of running, normally you try to get some decent mileage in, but have some type of taper, meaning bring down the miles. But I had to come to a pretty abrupt stop just to try to make sure I was healthy enough to race in Boston. Got to Boston, had a great experience, throughout the weekend and all that. It was a good time. But the race day went to shambles quick. Got about the 13, 14 miles in. Knee started acting up, and was able to continue and finish the race. But the second half of the race was much less pleasant than the first half. So wasn't able to get anywhere near the time that I wanted to. Was able to finish, but definitely left with a bittersweet feeling,
So when I first got into running, I never imagine that I would ever run a marathon. I ran my first half marathon probably 8 months after I ran my first official run, or you want to say just my first time ever going out specifically for a run. I ran a half marathon. I was very satisfied with myself. I felt good. I got so much kudos from other people. It was a great job or whatever. So I ran my first marathon in the spring of 2022 in Rhode Island, and I was not planning on running another marathon this year, but I've got some great friends, and peer pressure is crazy. So, and I got an opportunity to run the New York City Marathon. Shout out to New Balance for providing the opportunity for us both to run the New York City Marathon. So it was an opportunity I couldn't turn down. Many people look forward to this race. This is like a bucket list race for so many people. So I didn't want to turn down the opportunity. So I jumped into it, put my hard hat on and got to work.
Red, like studio?
That shit was wild.
So y'all was shooting for what? Ultra?
Yeah.
Some new shoes they got coming?
Yeah. We can't even show them all.
Alright.
Yeah.
It's only sweet, I think. Yeah, it should be. You just had to professional.
It's not always about the miles. It's not always about being fastest, but it is about showing that we can be, black folks can be in this space and be ourselves and don't have to conform to what everyone else is doing, because we have to be ourselves in order to make sure that we feel comfortable. And I appreciate brands that that continue to show support in this sense, because without like companies like UCAN and Tracksmith and and other companies that have tapped in with us, we wouldn't be able to have the platforms that we have right now. So I appreciate that in every way, shape, or form. Immediately after I finished moping, and being sad for myself, I just got back to the process, and one of my biggest things is control what you can control, and for me that meant taking this time to just go crazy on recovery, figure out what's wrong, go back to the doctor, get the x-rays or the MRI to figure out like what exactly has happened. And once I figured that out, we started going to RAMP Detroit, which is a rehabilitation or athletic center here. Let them do all the work that they needed to do and dedicate and kind of reinvest or invest in my body, instead of just thinking that I could put it through all this torture without like really putting in the work to make sure that I'm ahead of the game, instead of like trying to react to injuries, There's many different ways to do it. There's many ways to roam, as we say. Me specifically, I enjoy running a lot, and I like running a lot. Like no pun intended, but I enjoy running a lot, but I also enjoy running a lot of volume. So my weeks leading up to a marathon usually look like a peak of roughly 70 to 80 miles a week. 6 days a week I rest on Fridays. That shakes out to be about 10 hours of running every week, so pretty much like a part-time job of just running. But it's my escape, it's my release, it's my way of having alone time with myself, kind of decompressing from the day. Also, it's like my spiritual practice almost. So just getting out there and putting my shoes on and feeling the air, just everything about running, it feeds me, it feeds my spirit. Man, it's been kind of crazy, because right now like I'm like on this like redemption tour, and since I kind of failed at my last attempt at the marathon, why not try to do 3 in 3 months? So I ran Erie Marathon last weekend, and then next after this will be Chicago Marathon, and then New York will be in November. And I've been training pretty steady. Everything's been going great. The knee's working fine. The mileage is slowly creeping up. But the biggest thing I've been doing is making sure that like I stayed with those things, because I have a tendency, I'll just speak for myself, I have a tendency to, something hurts or something's wrong, I'll fix it, but then just forget about the things I did to fix it. So I've been trying to stay diligent with, all the recovery, so, prehab instead of rehab, doing all those things and getting good miles in, sleeping well and all that. Been training with Aaron a ton. In the marathon, like it was pretty dramatic for me, like in the Boston Marathon, but at one point while I was running or limping or walking, whatever you called it, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to run for a year. Like, just the pain was just too great. But to be in this point where I'm still putting up really good mileage and really good workouts, and was able to run a marathon and be right back to running within a few days, it's been great. Like, and I just can't thank, you know, the people that have helped me be in this position enough. You know, I can't thank Aaron enough for just, you know, always being there with some like the good advice to make sure that I'm not going too crazy. Ramp for, you know, doing all the great work, and just everybody that's been involved in this journey is just, it's been great, man.